Do 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 do. Come on, I'm on an SSD. Come on. Why are you taking so long? God damn it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Flood City with CzarPeppers. So, the last episode was the big 1 in 100 year flood, and I suppose I should just make it daytime so you can actually see stuff, even though it's really pretty at night. It's so pretty. Oh, is it sun setting or rising? I think it's setting. Oh well, back to daytime. After a few cinematic shots, of course. Alright, so now you'll be able to see the damage. We have the forest square completely taken out. Teague Park, which is now... Oh, right. Yeah, Bob Teague, he sadly passed away. And I took a bunch of footage of his journey to the cemetery, which I'll cut in right here. So we will always remember Bob Teague, and in his memory we've named this neighborhood after him, being the longest living citizen in Flood City. There was another neighborhood I was going to name after someone. Oh, right, Nate Wilson. I suppose I could name the neighborhood he lived in. We will rename Cherry District the Wilson District. And this area is still all flooded out. But this area I decided to de-zone. I think I'm going to sort of start from scratch, maybe do something interesting in here since it's a clean slate. All the water has finally drained out of it, and water levels are back to normal. The other severely hit area in the city was this part of Lyndale. Not too much of the area was taken out, just a block. Well, a block going in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 blocks. Elsewhere, boy, the Asinine River sure is low now. The river does seem really low now. It's kind of weird. It's like we're having a drought or something. It's a lot lower than it usually is. Much lower. It's kind of strange. Huh. Alright, so rebuilding Teague Park. I think what I'm going to do is upgrade some of the roads to... I'm going to upgrade this... Wait. Oh, my road thing seems a bit messed up. We're going to upgrade some of these roads coming off the highway, making a 4-lane road coming in through here. And then I'm going to replace the other ones with modern street lamps, proper roads like so. Of course, I could just do that with the housing all there already, but I don't really know what to do to make this different. It works pretty well as is. So I'm just going to do some small modifications like this. I can't do it there. Okay, and let's now paint back in the residential. It'll probably take a while for this to build up again because I don't have that much residential demand. I guess people are thinking, well, we don't really want to live there because you just got completely wiped out. That was a bad flood. Can only imagine what the 1 in like 200 year one is going to be. Also had a bunch of commercial area that was wiped out that I think I'm going to try replacing some of it with office if the demand allows. And the rest... What's the zoning in here like? I think I make a new district, sort of a tourist district here. So we'll cut into Forest Square a bit. And we will make that for tourists. So there'll be hotels and stuff. high density commercial. So that should build into nice little tourist district for a city. And you know what? Maybe a landmark would be a good idea too. A stadium. That's what we need. We are going to put that. I'll demolish this road. Might make a little park around it too. Oh, that's interesting. You can see the stuff below. What am I looking for? Landmarks. So we can build a nice stadium right here. It is on a roadside, you jerk. Right by the subway. And then what we can do is we can add some parking lots, because stadiums need parking lots, that's for sure. Like that. So now we have a new stadium. And then the rest can be tourist stuff. Very nice. So let's take a look at our citizens. Orlando Summers is now 68 years old and retired, living at the Belmont residence. I think that's a new place for him. That's around where McDole used to live. Master Chief, still working at the Giga Store. I think that's where he's always worked. Awesomeness at 73, retired, living in the Grove residence in the whatever district that is, near Sir Seals Park. Richard McDole, currently living. Is he still living up here? I know you asked for your place to be moved, but there's no way to move. They just move on their own. So that's where you're gonna live. And don't worry, I'll increase flood protection. You'll be dead anyways. Oh no, you're 53. You'll be around for a while. Hank Hamburger, where are you living these days? Down here in a big tower block in the old part of town. Sean Gam, I wonder if he's still living in the same place. Oh no, I guess Sean Gambrell moved after his house was almost flooded out. Except he moved to a place that I think was also flooded out during that flood, so kind of negates the whole idea. Space Magistry. The Empire residence over in the Elk Heights. So we've got some old people. We've got Branch, who is living at the Aspen residence. I think that's where he lived beforehand. So those are our citizens. The only one we've lost, well, other than Nate Wilson, is Bob Teague, who passed away just after the flood ended. Well, now that Teague Park and the other devastated areas are starting to rebuild, I need to brainstorm, because that was a pretty big disaster. Pretty much all the flood defenses fail, minus the flood wall for the old district. So we need to come up with something big, and I think I'm gonna be ambitious and try and make a bypass for the entire river that can divert tons of water across the city without... Oh, that's gonna be a problem, because I can't even... I guess I'll have to do it on this side. Won't I? Unless... No, I can't. I can't build it going on the west side because this area is in the way. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is make a diversion that goes around from the east side, because there aren't built up areas in the way. And it will start right here. But first of all, I'm going to have to build something to prevent all of the water from going into the city. So we'll go to our landscaping tools and our level thing and start making... Not going to make it go all the way across, because I want to make something that still lets some water into the river, but definitely needs to be not quite as wide. And basically the idea is to make all the water have to go through here, and then have some kind of control mechanism that I can put here during a flood to manage the water going into the river, into the city. Alright, so I think this is what I'm going to use as a gate. We have a dam here, which is going to let some water through, but not all. and then 2 channels on the side that can flow water into the river during normal conditions. Then when a flood happens, we can block off these channels or make it so only it's a smaller amount of water is going into the river, and the rest will be diverted via a gigantic channel going around the city. And hopefully that will work. I'll start building that channel right here, and then it'll have to go up here and then around and then flow back into the river down here, which will also require... I guess I should also fix this road here because I closed it down since it was all flooded out. So this is the first section. This is going to take a long time to make, but this is the idea of how wide I want this diversion. I don't really want that much water going through it at normal level, so I might mess with the level a bit. This is sort of just a test, but this channel is going to have to go all the way around behind this highway, and then somehow I'm going to have to deal with this river because it's going to have to go past it. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that without having all the water, flood water from it going, backing up into the city through this river. And it's going to have to go all the way down this industrial area and around here and then come back into the river down here. So it's going to be a pretty big project, but this is the beginnings of it. If there's any modders watching this, it would be really nice if somebody could make a type of dam that you can control the amount of water going through it. Like you can make less or more, or that kind of thing, because that would really help with this whole project. Because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to control the flow going into the river unless I just, during a flood, I use the landscaping tool to raise the dirt in here, so it sort of limits the amount of water going in. But that's not a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what it is right now, so I guess you're just going to have to go with, it doesn't work as well as it would otherwise. Damn, it's right on the tip of my tongue, too. Strangely, and this was before I even built this, so I don't think that's what's causing it. But water levels are really low in here. I mean, if you look up here, the river is usually pretty much up to the, where the road is down here, just maybe a meter or two lower. So it is significantly lower than it usually is. And I can't see anything that would be making anything different. The main water flow going into the river is still the same. So I'm not sure. Well, now that we've started working, let's take another look at our citizens. Awesomeness seems to be the oldest right now, retired, well-educated, still living at the Grove residence over in, what neighborhood does he live in? The Fox District, I think, or either that or Sir Seals Park. Everybody's getting pretty old. Sean Gambrell's the youngest. Oh, wait, no, that would be Cupola Gaming. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, he works at the police headquarters. Interesting. He's a policeman, or maybe he's just a paper pusher. Who knows? Who knows? What's his education? He's educated. Just educated. So yeah, he's probably a cop. I'm kidding. Sort of. Kind of. Looks like Richard McDowell is traveling to work right now. Wait a minute. He still works at the McDowell building, 55 years old, traveling under the river right now. Let's see, get our transit view. There he goes, quite the commute. Despite being rich, he still takes the train. What a environmentalist bloke, I guess. I'm sorry, I just used the word bloke and I'm not British. I'm a bit of an Anglophile, I will admit to that. Let me rephrase that. I'm a fucking massive Anglophile. I wish I was British. Fucking French. Who wants to be French? Oui, oui, oui. I'm sorry, French people. I'm only kidding. You're a wonderful, beautiful country with a wonderful culture and history. And people are far too hard on you for, you know. The British got just as owned as the French army did in France in 1940. So I don't know why they were complaining. But things seem to be recovering quite nicely. You know, I think I'm going to put something where Oren Somers' house. I know it's Summers, but I just prefer saying Somers. So we're going to put a little park where his place was. If I could find parks. There we go. That should make a nice park. I think his house was there. And we'll colon it the Oran Somers Park. Because you don't have enough named after you already. There's like 3 things. You got the Oran Spillway, the Oran Memorial, and the Oran Park. So I'm playing favorites here, I guess. You're my favorite. No, I'm kidding. You're all my favorite. You're wonderful people. All right. So back to the big project. This seems to be working quite nicely. There's not going to be any flood today, as I'm sure you've already guessed. But this is going to be a really big job because I've only gone that far and I have to go all the way fucking around here. So this is probably going to take multiple episodes to do. I think for this episode I'm going to try and get it to at least this highway here. But the next step is going to be doing something here. So this whole system that I'm currently making is based on the Winnipeg floodway, which I believe, I have heard, I'm not 100% it's true, but the Winnipeg floodway was actually behind, other than the Pamina Canal, was the largest man-made earth-moving project in history. It's probably one of the most underrated examples of engineering in the world, basically building an entire river around a city. It's pretty impressive. And basically, what it does, now this is nothing like the floodway gate. The floodway gate is basically like it's a bridge thing. It's sort of a dam, and underneath it, it's open, but beneath the river, there are 2 sort of buoyant locks, I suppose you could call them, that when the river starts flooding, it raises them up. And it still lets some water into the Red River, but it diverts most of it down the floodway. And the floodway goes around the city, and then the floodway water comes back into the river at the south of the city, where there's a dam preventing the water from, backing up. And then the water goes up north to Lake Manitoba. Or is it Lake Winnipeg? Yeah, Lake Winnipeg, I think. That's another thing. The Red River is one of the few rivers in the world that actually goes north. Well, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's plenty of others, but it's sort of unusual, so I thought I'd mention it. Now, the trick of this is going to be keeping it perfectly level, so the water will actually... Because the problem I'm having with this, I'm also going to have to do work on this spillway, is it goes uphill. So the water basically has to go uphill and then go around here, so it doesn't work very well. What I need to do is get rid of this canal, lower it to the same level it is here, so it can go at the same level all the way into the insane river, rather than having to go uphill, which is, I think, why that doesn't work so well. And I think here it's not quite as bad. It's pretty level, relatively level. And I think I'm also going to... Oh, I know what I could do. I could put on these channels going through, I could put a whole crap load of water pumps, and then when it floods I can turn them all on, and that should flow the slow into the river. Words, fuck 'em. Of course, this floodway will also require a big dike system all the way around it to prevent it from flooding into the city from behind. However, it may flood out this area pretty badly, so we're going to have to be aware of that. This is going to take a while to do, but now I should reconnect this highway again. Okay, so now I just need to make the highway bridge that goes over... Oh no, I did this wrong. Not supposed to use that kind of road. I'm supposed to use this kind of road. There we go. That's fixed. Now we need to build the bridge, which will have to go over this dike, which it hopefully will. It's going to be a jerk, isn't it? You're going to be a big jerk. Oh, there we go. No. I would like it a bit lower. It looks a bit better. That looks stupid. There we go. I guess that's the best I'm going to get. Oh, well, I guess it has to go up pretty high anyways, so that's all right. Now we'll go back down so we can reconnect here. Perfect. Bit twisty and turny, but that will suffice. So far we have a primary dike for the floodway and then a secondary, which somebody recommended. I use a mod that I had noticed before, but I didn't bother getting it. But this should work pretty well as a secondary defense. I don't know. Maybe I should actually raise the land that this flood wall is on, because I'm pretty sure that's going to get flooded out pretty soon. But we'll see. It does seem to be working quite nicely, though. And water levels seem to have gone back to more or less normal. They were a bit low before. They still are a bit low, but that's all right. Now, I think what I'm going to do here is add these pumps so I can turn them on during a flood, and that will pump some of the water away from the river. Okay, I did 3 and then 2, so let's do 1, 2, 3, and then 2 up here. And we have to make sure to connect them all. So we have quite a bit of industrial demand, so I think I'm going to make another lumber industry area over here. I'm just going to upgrade this road and make something off of it. Nothing big, because I'm not really... you have to be really careful building industrial areas, because if you make them really massive and you don't have much, road planning, making your roads run smoothly, they can turn into a huge mess. But since I'm doing a relatively small area, I don't really have to worry as much. Might still get rather trafficked up. That's my new word, copyrighted. Trafficked up. And of course my demand's pretty much gone down, but I'll still put it there anyways. So it does look out like the newly made Teague Park has recovered from our flood, as has Wilson District. Formerly, I think it was the Cherry District. And downtown, we have a new fancy stadium with a, new and somewhat suffering tourist district. But things are going... I still haven't touched this area. I'd probably just add residential, high-density residential again, is I think what I'm going to do. Actually, I'll put high density on the main street and do low density. That's not what I wanted to do. Low density here. So that should build up quite nicely and recover. So yeah, we've pretty much completely recovered from the 1 in 100 year flood, which was pretty devastating, but when you really think about it, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the only neighborhoods that were affected were the Wilson District, Teague Park, a little bit of Orchard Square and Vermont Heights, and a little bit of Lyndale. This area could have been a lot worse. We got pretty lucky. But I mean, when you think about, there are massive portions of the city that were fine. And in the end, it was maybe 10 or 15% of the city was flooded, which maybe a max 20, which isn't too bad. Now, in making this diversion, I want to make sure that it has as few kinks and things to slow the water down as possible, so the water can flow as freely through it as possible. So water sort of prefers to go down this way rather than the windy river through the city. So I want to keep this going as straight as I possibly can. I think what I'm going to do is make it come up here, cross the river this way, and then go across here, and come down alongside this highway. I don't know what I'm going to do with this river because I need to prevent the water coming through the diversion from then going into this river and backing up into the city from behind. So I might have to do a dam or something. Not much water usually goes to this river anyways. Oh, right. Hello, airport. That's a little bit in the way. So I guess I'm just going to have to come up and around the airport. You know, I'm just going to have to demolish parts of this industrial area because that river, the diversion really does have to go through here. There's really no way around it. And then it can come down through... I think I'm going to make it come down through here. Below, this airport isn't in use anymore, so I could just tear it down. And then it can divert back into the river here. And... yeah, that should work out pretty well. The only risk is having floodwater going into this area here, but this land is pretty high, and I think this flood... I'm just going to have to upgrade this flood wall, make it a bit higher. So, unfortunately, it looks like Sean Gambrell has passed away. So, it's been a pretty rough one. We've lost Bob Teague and Sean Gambrell. Died at the age of 25. That's unfortunate. Oh, no, he didn't die. He just moved out of town. Okay, you didn't die. You just got sick of this fucking water flooding your house, so I decided to go leave. Get out of town. So, we'll miss you, Sean Gambrell, and we hope that you move back someday. But we do have a lot of old people now. Orlando Summers, Master Chief, Awesomeness, me, the female version of me, are nearing the end of their life. It seems like I am headed towards the boutique. Where do I live anyways? Oh, right there. Oh, that's a pretty nice house. Otherwise, I've gotten the flood diversion way all the way over to this highway, which is what I wanted to achieve by the end of this video. I am just going to add the flood wall going along it, like so. And that'll be the end of today's video. So we've done a good job. We've pretty much recovered from the flood of the century. And we're doing something about the fact that we're facing the 1 in 500 year flood soon enough. So until the next time, have a good one.